Squared away here. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Todd Brous. I'm here with my co-founder, Susan Schultz, and we would like to welcome everyone to HBAP Startups. And so let's get started. For those of you who are new to the Startups group, we have a few announcements at the beginning of each meeting, and we'll do some short networking breakout rooms, and then we'll come back together for our main event. First off is our mission. We're here to help foster and fortify an innovation and entrepreneur community coming out of the Harvard Business Analytics program. Our goal is to provide our members with the tools, knowledge, leadership, and confidence necessary to create and grow our businesses from the ground up. If you're wondering how to engage with us, I'm going to put a bunch of links into the Zoom chat where you can sign up for our newsletter. Also, if you are not an HBAPer, feel free to check out the Harvard Business Analytics program website. Click apply. They're running discounts right now and scholarships. You never know, you might get into Harvard. Also, please check out our YouTube channel, subscribe to that, get and like our videos. That would be wonderful. And check out the HBAP Startups website. Susan.
Yes, so as we know, this group is really a place where people come to learn and to talk about our ideas and get feedback. And it's a place where we want people to feel safe and be able to collaborate and understand that everything is confidential. So very specifically, all rights are reserved by the presenter unless they tell us otherwise. Of course, we are following the honor codes, and then the feedback approach really is Frances Fry, who, if you don't know who she is, she's incredible. Look up her stuff, read her books. Her feedback is for every one piece of kind of peppery feedback, we give 5 pieces of lovely, sweet feedback. Amended now by Kelly to say, forget about the peppery stuff, just go with the positive. And that's the best way for people to learn and improve. And then, as always, conflict of interest or anything of concern, just come to Todd and me and we'll help you figure it out.
Next slide. And
then upcoming, so today we have Phil Morris, and we're gonna hear about so many cool things, so many different shows he's been in, and really the entrepreneurship of acting. So that's gonna be really cool. And then next week we're having a generative AI workshop that Todd's leading. So please come participate in that. It's going to be cool. We're going to figure out how to use the various tools with generative AI to do some work around maybe branding. And then on the 26th, Congressman Jimmy Gomez, he's going to talk about the complexities of AI regulations. And then we've got some additional upcoming ones that are being finalized, but stay tuned for those.
Awesome. So let's do some short one-on-one breakout rooms, about 6-7 minutes, and I will see you guys in a few. Give everyone a few more seconds and everyone should be popping back into the main lobby. We're going to get a flood. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a lot of fun in your breakout rooms. Let me make sure that I've got this stuff correctly set up. Yes. All right, good. Just a little quick reminder. Again, we are recording this. It is going to be posted on YouTube. Please, after we're done, stick around for some overtime. And don't forget, when you exit Zoom this evening, please fill out the survey that you will get. It'll pop up in a web browser. Filling out surveys saves lives. It reduces our cholesterol levels. It gives you a great complexion, and it increases your stamina. So, and remember, we're data people. We're analytics people. Without data, we become distraught, sad, lost, and depressed. So save a tree, kill a beaver, and fill out our survey. I'm kidding, joking. All right, so without further ado, it is my honor to introduce our guest this evening. Phil Morris is a versatile, talented, renowned, and accomplished American actor who has starred in a variety of roles across television, film, animation, and video games. He is best known for his hilarious portrayal of Jackie Chiles, the fast-talking lawyer on the hit sitcom Seinfeld. He's also played iconic characters such as Grant Collier on the new Mission Impossible, Silas Stone on Doom Patrol, General Zod on HBO Max's Young Justice, and the first animated African-American character in a Disney film as Joshua Sweet on Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Phil started his acting career as a child, appearing in the 1966 Star Trek episode Miri. He has starred in shows ranging from Knight Rider, Melrose Place, Girlfriend, Smallville, Blackish, Black AF, Bless This Mess, Angie Tribeca, and Bosch Legacy. Movies such as Black Dynamite, Meet the Spartans, Clay Pigeons, and recently Ghosts of the Ozarks. Phil comes from a family of talented performers, and his father was Greg Moore, star of the original Mission Impossible series. He's also a passionate comic book fan and a skilled practitioner of Wing Chun Kung Fu. Phil has many exciting projects in the works, and we are honored to have the great Uber Santa with us tonight. And now, without further ado, as is our custom, if we could all please, let's briefly unmute ourselves and let's give a warm round of applause to Phil Morris.
Yay! Todd, what a great entry, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored, truly. This is a new groove for me, as I said to Susan. But that's my calling card, a new groove. That's what I do as an artist, as an actor. That's a new groove is pretty much my thing. So I'm really honored to be here, and I wouldn't be here without Mr. Kelly Kimball and the organizers of this particular event. And I want to thank you guys for that. And I have to start with Kelly in a way, because this all came to me and I think to him based on a lunch that we had about a couple of months ago now, a few months ago. And we were talking, and I was telling him what I was doing and all the things that I had been up to, which was quite a bit. I mean, I'd been doing quite a few shows and a lot of personal appearances. And he was like, man, you're an entrepreneur. I'm like, am I? I'm a performer. I use art. Other people can say artist or art. I'm a performer, and I became a performer because I was that guy who did not want to work in an office 9 to 5, and I felt like being a performer was the way to get out of that. So, in considering myself a business person, is not always the first thing in my mind. It's not always top of my list. But when he mentioned that, and I immediately agreed. And then when I came home, I looked up the word entrepreneur, like I told Susan, and because I needed to really know what it was and what I was connecting myself to. And I'm going to read it. I know you all know, but I'm going to read what the definition of entrepreneur is that I found. And it was one who organizes and manages an enterprise, one who owns and runs their own business, an independent contractor. All of those things are me. That's all I've ever been. That's the only thing I am in this business. I am an independent contractor. I am the business. I am the business. I'm the producer. I'm the distributor. I'm quality control. I'm all of those things wrapped into one. There is no filter. I'm direct. No chaser. It's as immersive as it possibly gets. The other definition was a person who organizes, operates, and assumes the risk for a business venture. My whole life is about risk. Today is risky for me. It is not my natural habitat. But for people of my ilk, that's exactly the place I need to be. That is exactly how I need to go forward in order to find success in this journey. No risk, no reward. I play safe, audience gets bored. I risk, audience responds. Audience doesn't need to know acting. They don't need to know the Vakhtangov method. They don't need to know the Stanislavski Strasberg method. They don't need to know that. They just know it didn't hit. It didn't resonate. So it's not up to them. That's not their business. That's my business. So all of that made so much sense to me. And when Kelly asked me to do this evening for you, this late afternoon for us, I was very excited, scared, nervous, challenged. But those are the things that I require. And I think those are the things that all probably great entrepreneurs require. A sense of risk, a sense of losing, because it's not worth it if you don't have something to lose. As an actor, as a performer, if I am not stretching my choices to the point of almost discomfort, I'm not finding the gold. I'm just not mining my own personal gold. And I have been in elements and environments where I have not done it, and it has not gone well for me. One quick aside, and I'll have a lot of asides, by the way, so hang with me, as Kelly knows. My sister Linda, who some of you may know, Linda Morris, who works with Kelly pretty closely, she and I are very, very close. She's a brilliant singer. My sister and I are both actors, my sister Ione and I. My sister Linda, possibly the best actor in the whole family. That's how connected she is. All right. So one day I'm talking to her, and I'm in a difficult spot in my career. Things aren't going great. They weren't going terrible, but I wasn't booking. So I'm on the phone with her and I'm telling her, I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but Linda, I know for a fact that when I go in those rooms, I am not leaving a part of my self. And as soon as I said self, I started sobbing because I realized I wasn't giving everything I had in those auditions. That was the problem. I wasn't turning myself inside out to bring this thing that even I was not aware of in the moment. And that's what they want. That's what casting studios, producers, directors, writers, they're looking for, that thing that they don't know about. That's why they're casting. Or else they just pick up the phone and give me Joe, give me Mary, give me Jim, give me so-and-so. No, they want you to walk in the door and present something that they haven't thought of. An energy that they connect to, that they're like, that's right. That's our guy. That's him. That's my job, is to create undeniability in my world. That's hard. Hard. Because there's a lot of talented people in my business, a lot of talented people in my game. And so for you to find that and to strike some sort of success, yes, you're good, but you're fortunate and you're lucky. And in some cases, you're probably a badass, because that's what they hire. They don't hire weak, they hire strong. All right. I'm going to go back to my history so you know who I am and why I'm on this thing talking to you and what makes me who I am. My family's amazing, so I have to start there. My mother was an incredible lyricist and composer and music person and mom. My sisters are unbelievable, both of them incredibly creative, loving, compassionate people. My father was a man named Greg Morris, who starred in the original Mission Impossible series, not the movies. My father's not Ving Rhames, Greg Morris. So it all depends on who I'm talking to. When I say he was one of the stars of Mission Impossible, oh, Ving Rhames, I love Ving Rhames. No, that's not my dad. My dad starred in a show called Mission Impossible from 1966 to 1973. It was not only the #1 show in the country, it was the #1 show in the world at the time. At the time, there were only 3 networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Three. Later, an upstart network came to bear called Fox, but that was much, much, much later. 3 networks, less opportunity for everybody. 1966, my father's an African-American male. He and another actor were the only 2 African-Americans, period, on a nationally televised network primetime show. 2. My father, Bill Cosby. Both on spy shows, ironically. Mission Impossible, incredible, creative, outside the box, created by Bruce Geller, spy show. And then another show called I Spy, literally spy in the title, starring Robert Culp and Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, in fact, got his job because of my father. My father was a guest star on a show called The Dick Van Dyke Show, classic TV. And there was an episode where, when my father was in it, the laugh was the longest in live TV history. The hold was the longest in live TV history. It's a show called That's My Boy, an episode called That's My Boy. At any rate, when Bill Cosby was up for this job opposite Robert Culp, a man named Sheldon Leonard, who was the creator of I Spy, but was also a producer on the Dick Van Dyke Show, was in the room, pitching Bill Cosby to star opposite Robert Culp. The network was like, No, no, America's not ready. Sheldon Leonard said, hold on a second, went down to his office at NBC, came back with the fan mail that my father garnered from that episode, dumped it on their desk, and said, America's ready. And that's how Bill Cosby got the job. So my father was not only one of the first, he was also instrumental in the other dude getting his job. So as we're talking about my dad, I'm going to show you him. I'm going to try to share my screen. Now listen, I am not technologically savvy. However, I did spend all day with my sister Linda going over this, and hopefully, God willing, it'll all work. And if it doesn't, I blame her. Anyway, I want you to see who my dad was. So I'm going to show you a compilation of him. And where is the photograph? Here it is. So this is my pop. And those are a lot of the roles that he played in Mission Impossible. He was incredible. He was smart, charismatic, handsome, tall. His voice was incomparable. My voice, I sound like a teenager compared to him. And so that's my dude. His role on the show was to be the smartest, MF in the room. That was his role. And he played it brilliantly. And so many people have come up to me throughout my lifetime to express that as African Americans, it was the first time they saw somebody they wanted to be like, somebody they wanted to emulate. He was an engineer. In the show, he was an electronics expert. He owned his own company, Collier Electronics. My dad was breaking ground where there was really no ground. And so that's my legacy. And I'm going to show you another picture of the cast of Mission Impossible and how he was implemented in that cast. He was just a special guy. And I have to share it with you because know him, know me, not just biologically, but professionally, because he was one of those that kicked the damn door in. He didn't just walk through casually. He kicked it in. And without him and people like him, I would not be here right now talking to you. So it's really important for me to honor him and to honor his legacy beyond me being his son. And ironically enough, being his son, I was able to star in the new Mission Impossible. And we'll get to that story in a minute. So my father, like I said, when this whole thing started, there were only 3 networks. Now we can deal with acting as an entrepreneurial enterprise, or in my terms, the entrepreneurial spirit. And when I was making my notes, I kept writing entrepreneurial so often I get tired of it, so I just put ES. And as an actor, I suppose just full stop, I'm an entrepreneur because I am the business. Like I said, I am the business. I am the producer. I am the creator. I am the casting director. I am everything. I'm the distributor. I am all of it. So I suppose that every character I play is a new business. You follow? Every character I invest in is a new industry that I've got to learn, I've got to understand, I've got to absorb, then I've got to express in a very interesting, unique way, right? Authentically. And in my business, if you're not authentic, you're nothing. So you're a mimic, you're an imitator, you're David Fry, you're you're Rich Little, you're the people that imitate great. You aren't great. And that can only go so far. So in my game, it's really important to be authentic and unique. So as far as the characters are concerned, and you may play many characters at the same time. I'm doing 3 animated series right now. I did Bosch Legacy, Doom Patrol, all of them I was doing concurrently. So each one of those characters to me is another interest. I have to immerse myself in their skin. I have to understand their loves, their hates, their wants, their dislikes, their likes. I got to know what kind of shoes they wear. I got to know what kind of food they eat. So each one of those people I have to invest in. I've got to do a deep dive. The same way is if you were to be involved in a business, you'd have to go into it and do a deep dive. You're not going to invest in something you don't know about. You know, you're not going to invest in something that you're just partially familiar with. The chances of succeeding are lessened when you do that, I would imagine. Same for me. The less I invest in my characters, the less interesting they become, the less chance I will get the job, the less chance you as an audience member will respond to me. Do you know what I'm saying? So to mitigate the risk, I study, I train, I develop tools, I sharpen my toolkit so that I can whip it out at any time. And remember, three networks, and at the time, the industry did not want you to be self-promoting. It did not want you to be self-producing. Not only didn't it want you to, it was almost impossible for you to do it. You needed a publicist. You needed a PR person. You needed the studio. You needed the network. To do a self-generated project was cost prohibitive. Let's say you did it on 8mm or Super 8. You still had to get the film. You had to get a crew. You had to have lights. You had to have cameras. You had to have makeup, hair. You had to have it processed, edited. Those things cost money back then. And it wasn't possible for you to do it in a substantial way. It just wasn't. The technology didn't exist. We couldn't just make a movie. These didn't exist. So there was very little opportunity to parlay your talent beyond where you were. You had radio, television, and film. Maybe you could model. Perhaps commercials were interesting. But if you were a film actor, you eschewed TV. You never did commercials. Modeling? Please. So a lot of those modalities were not open to performers. And they chose, because of ego or agenda, not to take advantage of those things. Again, agents were required. Managers were required. You couldn't get jobs by yourself. There were no breakdown services that were available for actors. That's nouveau for people of my era, but not for my father. He didn't see breakdowns. His agent saw those. Those were off limits to the actor. You know, they didn't want you to know how the Wizard of Oz was making the thing. You pay no attention to the man behind the screen. So the opportunities for my father to parlay his talent into more of an entrepreneurial spirit were limited, de facto. Then you come to me. Now, what are we bringing to the table when we talk about our talent, when we talk about this product? For me, we need tools. You have to have tools. You don't have tools, you're not going to go very far. The first tool for me is talent. Talent, number one in my business. Number one, you have to know what you're doing and how to do what you're doing. You have to present it in a way that, like I said, is interesting, authentic, and original. So you got to go to class, man. You come to this on a certain natch, right? Like, let's say Kelly's a political wonk. He's politics. It's in him. It's part of his backbone. It's part of his internals. But you can only go so far on that natural internal, right? You can only go so far on your natural talent before you need to know the specifics of the classics, Shakespeare, Chekhov, you name it. Even Neil Simon. You need to know about entrances, rhythms, comedy, interactions. And you can't just know that naturally. You can't just know it by walking through life. You have to put yourself in an environment that helps you develop that skill. For me, that was class. And I did many classes to try to educate myself as to the different styles of acting. Drama, comedy, improv. I did all of that. And I picked classes, and I say this, it scared the crap out of me. I would see the level of work, and I didn't know if I could reach that level. You know, I went to a class. The acting coach was John Lenn. He was John Voight, Jill Clayburgh, Dustin Hoffman's private coach. He was oh God, what's his name? Not Stanislavski, the other cat. He was his monitor, the guy who created the method. Lee Strasberg was his monitor for years. He was an incredible acting coach. Now, every acting class I'd been in prior to his class, I was the flipping star. I was the guy. I was the funniest guy. I was this guy. I was that guy. I had the big personality and courage. Courage, people, courage, massive. That was my biggest skill initially. I was courageous. I feared nothing. Put me on a stage, I don't care. I see 100 people, 200 people, doesn't matter, doesn't bother me. Talking to you people, it doesn't throw me off my game. I'm okay there. Many people aren't. And that's the first thing you got to know. Yeah, you can be cute, funny in the living room, put them on a stage, put them in front of a camera, see how they respond. So courage was my superpower at the time, much more than talent. So when I went to John Lenn's class, and there were people like Dennis Hopper, Mickey Rourke, I mean, major, Mayor Winningham, major actors. My first scene, I got savaged by them. It was horrible. I did a scene from Body Heat, okay? And in the movie, the two characters are smoking on the boardwalk. It's really sexy and sultry. And this actress I was with, she was, see, I'm an old actress. This actor I was with, she's beautiful. They were beautiful, amazing. And we were smoking on the thing and we're doing our scene and we finish. We sit down on the stage. And John Lenn opens it up to the class and he says, okay, what would you say? Which he did every time. Now, these are amazing actors. The first guy, Bob Picardo, he says, excuse me, do you smoke? I said, no, I don't smoke. Asked Nancy, do you smoke? Nancy said, nope, I don't smoke. He goes, I didn't think so. To me, that scene was about two people who didn't know how to smoke. Wow. Oh, whack. It hurt so badly that I didn't attend that class for a year. I left and I didn't come back for a year. It hurt my little actor ego so badly. But then when I came back, I stayed for over 10 years. And I stayed with him until he passed away. And it changed my life irrevocably. And I'm telling you now, I can give you chapter and verse of all the teachers that have been great for me. And every one of them challenged me to a point that was uncomfortable. So that I had to get over myself in order to find the success that I was looking for. It wasn't easy at all. So I always encourage young actors to read, to get into the best class that they can. So that's a part of the number one tool for me that any actor needs is they have to figure out who they are. They got to go to class and ask those tough questions. They got to fail. They got to rise and fall. And so you learn from how you fall. Yes, you can learn from the successes and what's easy, but easy is easy for a reason. You ain't got to do nothing about it. It's easy. It's when you have to walk through the fire when you're tempered. And I have a phrase that it's like steel. You can beat steel up, steel in the wrong way. It's just mangled metal, right? But if you beat it up in the right way, it's tempered steel, twice as strong as it was before you laid a hammer on it. And that's what I've tried to do in my life is give myself as many challenges as I can to create a stronger piece of metal that I bring to the party. Another tool that we have to use, everybody uses, is the headshot. Now, when I was coming up, only actors had headshots. Now everybody got a headshot. Everybody needs a headshot. Everybody has to have a headshot with their resume and the thing and their CV or whatever it is. And you got to know what they look like. Before it was just like you showed up to the job and you're like, oh man, you're Bob. Oh, okay, great. Good to see you. Well, for me and my people, it's a visual medium. You need to know what I look like. You have to see me because that's what you're going to project. Doesn't matter how talented I am in a way to them. Talent's important to me, but to them, it's about how they can cast me. Who do I fit with? Who do I pair up with? What do I look like? So you got to go get headshots. You got to find a photographer. These are all the things, the elements that as a successful actor, I need them. It's not a good idea. I need it. I need to find the right person as a photographer who's going to take this face and find the thing, man. Find the thing that when they put that 8x10, and I was an 8x10 guy back in the day, in front of that casting person, they look at it and they're like, yeah, it's saying something to me. It's super important for that to be a representation of you. Now, it's not just my headshot. Now, let me show you my headshot. I'm going to show you the headshot I use so you guys can see it. It's pretty good. It's good. You know, it's all right. So that's the headshot I'm using. And it pretty much looks like me right now. And that's the deal. That is a headshot that is not retouched. I don't retouch my stuff. I don't wear makeup. I don't want them to see me put together in the way that they're going to put me together should I get the job. That's up to them, not me. I'm going to give you my essence, my authenticity, my uniqueness, so that you can make a decision based on that. I'm not going to fool you. And then I get to set and I fooled you and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. No, it doesn't fly. Even though we're acting, we don't want to get caught acting. Interesting. So yeah, so that's my headshot. And there's so many things. Like I was a model for years and years and years. And so here's one of my model shots, right? That's another modality that as actors, we take advantage of. That's another revenue stream for me. It's another opportunity for me to use my physicality to get a check, right? And I was a big time model for a long time. I did GQ. Whenever GQ would come out here from New York, I was their West Coast guy, one of them. So I took advantage of that. I did commercials. I'll show you something that I did a while back. Let's see if I got it here. Where is that thing? Apparently it didn't show up. But it's a Salem ad with me and a couple of young ladies. And ultimately it was pretty interesting, but it was just really a chance for me to act again, you know, a chance for me to ply my trade and use my talent in a whole different way. My father couldn't do that. We're now in an age where I can do a lot that he couldn't do. I'm going to show you this. It's an interesting picture. This is when my father first got Mission Impossible. This is our family. We don't know what the hell is going on. We are naive to what is about to occur in our lives. Our lives were never the same after my father got this show. It set all of us on a path that we couldn't have imagined. So that's the first photo session we did when my dad got Mission Impossible. That's in Larchmont here in LA. And I was given these slides by somebody who I was doing a project with. So I mentioned my history. I mentioned these things so that you understand where I come from with this. Why to me this is entrepreneurial. I train martial arts, as you heard. Another part of this preparation to do what I do and be who I am is self-care and wellness, not just for my health, but so I can bring the best package I can to the characters that I'm playing. So I can withstand a 15-hour day. So I can shoot nights without it affecting my health. So I can approach the physical work of an actor. It doesn't have to be an action film. It's just hard work. So I have to be well, and I have to inundate myself with as many places to find that as I can. The martial arts have been fantastic for me. I started with them when I was 6 years old with my dad. When he started training for Mission Impossible, I started training martial arts. I was 6, I was 7. It was 1966, I was 7 years old. I have stayed with it to this day. It is my go-to. It keeps me sane. And I think we need to find those things, because if the risk you're taking is so great, you need something to help salve the spirit and the mind. And you need to, I do. I need to give myself something that is almost impossible to perfect. Martial arts, I can't perfect that. I can't. I can only approximate it. So it's always a work in progress. I'll never create the perfect character. I mean, Jackie's really close. Jackie Chiles from Seinfeld, close, but it'll never be perfect for me. It'll always be a little off. You know, I'll always look at something, So I have to train myself to try and work on that perfection as best that I can. The martial arts, for me, is the best way. And for me as well, I've been really lucky, y'all. Everything I've ever loved, I have realized, truly. I love comic books. You see behind me, this is a bit of my library in my office. I have a huge library out in the main room, and I have 20,000 comic books, honestly, 20,000 of them in my own personal collection. I had no idea I would do so many comic book properties that I have paid for that collection over many, many, many times over. But as a young man, I had no idea I was doing study. I was embracing this world that would ultimately pay me and give me a creative outlet. I've done Smallville, you know, I've done General Zod and so many things on screen that have paid off. Where am I here? Here we go. So this is me in Smallville, playing a character named, hold on, John Jones. Hold on. Why did that pause? Stop share. Let me try to go down there again, show that to you again. All right, let me see that. Share. Oh, why is that paused? You guys seeing that picture or no? Okay. Somehow my share has paused. Let me try and get back there. At any rate, what you need to know is I've done a lot of comic book stuff. Ton of it. And as a kid, I was doing study on it. I ended up playing my father's son in the new Mission Impossible. How is that possible? No pun intended. So these things are all a part of my being, almost cellularly so. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I'm successful. It's not casual for me. It's my life, my martial arts. I love Bruce Lee. I don't like Bruce Lee. I loved Bruce Lee. He was that guy when I was growing up, right? I found Bruce Lee's best friend to train with. I trained Wing Chun with his best friend from Hong Kong. I just stumbled on him. I don't think I stumbled on him. I think it was brought to me because I literally was really searching. The universe responded to my authenticity, to my truth, to my desire. And the world and the universe said, well, the door's open for you, Phil. Go for it. And that's what I do. I mean, that's literally all that I do is go for it in my life. So that's kind of the physical, the gym. I'm a big gym guy, big gym rat. I'm 100 years old and I got no friends because nobody wants to work out with me. It is a part of my preparation for life, period. But it really is a part of my preparation for my work. Another thing that we need in my business, I'm going to see if I can share this again because I want you to see my Sifu, and I don't know why I'm on pause there. But we're going to try it again. So this is my guy. Let's see if I can share. Yeah, hey, we're back. So that's my guy. That's my martial arts master, Sifu Hawkins Chung. He's passed away. Love you, Sifu. But he taught me so much about not just martial arts, but about life. And he said something to me, said two things to me that were amazing. One was, you look at yourself the least of any actor I've ever trained, which was great because we were always looking in the mirror. You know, martial arts studios have mirrors all around them. Everybody's all looking at how do I look? How's my posture? How's that? I could give two craps. I wanted to know what I needed to know. And the other was, and this is a really weird one for people who aren't into the martial arts, please bear with me 1 second. So you get to a point in your training where you start to approximate the skills of your Sifu, your master, your teacher, whatever. You start to evolve, you start to mature. So one night he and I are working and he's trying to teach the class something and he and I are working and I'm the guy, I'm getting the crap beat out of me, but I'm also giving it. And he stops and he looks at me and he says, I can no longer kill you, but you can't kill me either. So it was the greatest respect I could get from my teacher that I could have imagined. And that's where I'm going with all this. Again, these things for me are not casual. They're immersive. And I think that's the key to success in anything that we do, right? It's immersing yourself in that subject, in that framework, so that you are an expert in it. And then you can invest in it as best you can because you've got a leg up on it. And so that for me is, those are the building blocks, right? The tools of study, learning what you do, who you are in what you're doing, having the requisite tools, your reels, your headshots, everything that represents you when you cannot, in fact, show up in the room and audition yourself. Back in the day, I would audition. And if they liked you, they asked for your reel. It wasn't that you sent the reel and then they asked for you. You went in, did your thing. And if they liked you, they asked your agent for your reel. I'm going to show you one of my reels now, if you will bear with me. This, I believe, is going to be, oh no, yeah. So hold on. What are you looking at here? Stop that. Try it again. Bear with me, people. Okay. Let's see if I can play this for you. There we go.
In the 162 years of the United States Coast.
That is something else I want to show you. Hold on a second. It's going to work. It's going to work. I promise. It's going to work. All right.
I don't think we've ever actually met.
It's my drama reel.
It's on the street, catching bad guys, making cases, and making a name for yourself. No, better late than never. You're on very dangerous ground. You need to make careful decisions. I represent people who reward those who make careful decisions.
That sounds like a threat or a bribe, or maybe both.
Take it any way you want.
If I was still a cop, I'd arrest you for threatening an officer or an attempted bribery.
But you're not. Somebody help me!
No one can hear you.
You'll go to prison for this. If I go, you'll go. This is crazy. I'm an ex-cop, for God's sake. A commander.
Who is she?
No.
Don't fuck with me. Who is she?
How can I tell you something that I don't know? Dad? I thought no one was gonna come. I'm here. I'm here. What did they do to you?
We didn't do anything. We found him like this. There'll be no take-backsies on this deal.
Deal? Why did you do this to me?
I was afraid. I was certain it would destroy our family if you knew I had to make the choice to let your mother pass.
So you let me shoulder the blame instead.
I didn't realize how destructive my dishonesty was until it was too late. I was her husband.
And you don't think she told me what you did? This wasn't some experiment. I turned my sweet, affable, athletic, charming, delicious boy into a freak of nature. I did it out of love. Why the hell did you do it, Niles? People here, they don't care what you look like, James. Not one bit. All that matters is purpose. if you have value, could you have ever dreamt of a notion like that out there? Outside these walls?
Outside in the woods, I was attacked, but
The ghosts.
well, what are they? They can't be real.
They're as real as anything I've ever known. Yet as magical as anything I've ever dreamt. Have you forgotten already? What it's like for us. I am reminded of it every time I step off that train in New Orleans. Every single time. There's nobody here except us, Torb. Can stop with the show. You son of a bitch. You made the right choice before. I want you to make the right choice again. These walls, they're not yours. Remember that.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. So that's my drama reel. I have a comedy reel. This is all the tools that we need, you know, and if I don't have them, I'm not as good. And to be honest with you, my reels now are as good as they've ever been. I have finally all the tools. I've been doing this forever. And I finally have the tools that I think really represent who I am and what I'm about, more now than I've ever had. And it's taken a long time. It's taken a long time to find my lane, mine, not my dad's, not my sister's, nobody around me, not my peers. Got a quick, hopefully I can get through this story. I don't start weeping. I was doing the new Mission Impossible. I'm actually working in Australia, Kelly, in Australia. I'm doing a network show. I'm doing the show my father made famous. I'm playing the son of that guy. I am the son of that guy. My wife and I go to a movie that weekend in Australia. I'm working, and we see the trailer for Glory, the movie Glory. And we see Denzel Washington, who is brilliant in it. And I see him, and I'm like, oh. Okay, cool. We walk out of the theater. I can't even remember the movie we saw. I go down the hallway. I see the movie poster for Glory. I look at it. I go, oh. She's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, Denzel Washington. She says, would you let that man have his career and you have yours?
What?
Yeah, I can do that. I cannot be Denzel Washington, but Denzel Washington cannot be Phil Morris. Nor would I want to be Denzel Washington. So my whole life is in etching out the most authentic, unique, and interesting Phil Morris that I can find and bringing that to the table. And as I do that, I am successful. Doesn't matter whether I get the job or not, because I am honoring this industry. I'm honoring this business. And it almost is not my business whether or not they hire me. It's only my business to present the best me I can be so that my odds are in my favor. Something else I need to share with you. I do a lot of conventions. That's another revenue stream for me. It's another industry I'm a part of. And I go deep, people. I go deep. It's a picture of me recently in Charlotte, at the Charlotte Knights. Basically, at a Seinfeld night. All those shirts, I signed 1,500 of them that night. I arrived at 6 in the morning. I did press starting at 8 in the morning. I showed up at the park at noon and was there until 9 o'clock at night. I signed over 1,500 shirts. That's not the baseballs that I signed. That's not the first pitch I threw. That's not the VIP that I did, the question and answer session, all of that. And I walked off of the elevator. I was exhausted But I said to myself, I was smiling inside. I said, good job, Phil. Good job. You showed up, you showed out. You made a lot of people happy. It was beyond my comfort zone. I was exhausted. So what? So what? If I say yes, just like tonight, just like today, if I say yes, you get all of me, warts and all, whether I know what I'm talking about or I don't. And I want you to call me on the carpet if you find fault with what I say. I don't know it all, but I'm willing. And I'm courageous. And I know enough to know what I don't know. So being a part of all of these revenue streams, opportunities, it takes me to do it. I am the one I'm the man in the arena. Always. And I don't do it just for the currency of cash. I do it so that I can give back to people that I don't hear from when I do my performances. If I'm doing theater, I get it, right? It's live, it's right there. If I'm doing television or film, I don't know the response until an audience member comes to me and says, this is how it landed on me. It's how it resonated. So many people come to me at these conventions and I do it so I get it. Do you understand? They already got it. They saw me on the show. Now they're coming to my table and they're seeing all my pictures and they're seeing all that I've done and they're giving me love. So it's my opportunity to give them love back. And that's the reciprocation that keeps me going all the time. I could tell you so many stories that just would break you down. Beautiful people come to my table. Handicapped, not handicapped, non-binary. I mean, it's a panoply of humanity. So I'm doing this convention a couple of weeks ago, and this is another note for everybody. I've done so much. You've seen just like a small amount. And I don't want to bore you with a slideshow. This is about this right here. And so the moderator asked me, you've done so much. Even in sci-fi, you've played good guys and bad guys. You played aliens, humans. You played drama, comedy. You played farce, improv. Did you decide to do that kind of work, to be this like diverse and all that? I went, no. To me, it's like athletics. I happen to be a very good athlete. I love sports. So I play all sports. I'm not a specialist in tennis. I'm not a specialist in golf. I just play sports. So what came to me in that moment was, no, I didn't look for the special thing to find. I'm the special thing. And I take that special thing and I put it into drama. Or I take the special thing and I put it into comedy. It's not that comedy is more special for me, or drama is more special for me, or basketball is more special, or baseball. No, I'm special. I have the hand-eye, the coordination, the footwork, the agility, the nimbleness, the intelligence, the wherewithal, the acumen to understand the truth of those things. And I put myself in that arena to experience the truth of those things. And the more truthful that I am in those arenas, the more successful I am. The better I play golf, the more solidly I hit the tennis ball, the better I set the volleyball, the more I'm believable in whatever I'm playing, because I'm not waiting for that to tell me how special it is. I'm bringing my own special sauce to it. And I think that's a key for all of us, regardless of what we do, to feel that you are the one who's walking in the light. You are the one who's bringing the heat. And then you can play well with others. Winston Churchill said, when possible, surround yourself with winners so that when you speak of your successes, you don't sound like you're bragging. Very interesting, right? Not to demean anybody, but listen, to me, this is magic. It's magical. People ask me how I'm doing. I go, magical. Freaks them out. Tell people you're good. They go with you. Head nodding. Oh, good, good. Tell people you're great. Great. Oh, that's good. Good for you. Tell them you're fantastic. The F word. Wow, fantastic. That's amazing. Tell them you're magical. Gauge their response. Their response usually is, I want some. How do I want some of that? How do I get some magic? So I look at this whole full-on running improv, because that's what it is, ain't no script to this, as a magical journey. And it's kept me happy, healthy, successful, striving, risking, rewarding, failing. And yeah, I think somebody asked about that it was my courage innate. No. No, I had to develop that. I was so skinny, it looked like I was smuggling walnuts in my knees. Think about that just for a second. Yeah, I was skinny, man. I mean, my older sister, Iona, could beat me up. She can't beat me up now, but she could, and she often did then. I got picked on a lot. I got bullied a lot. And I had to develop. I had to develop a skin, man. I had to develop an understanding of myself that was stronger than that which I came into the world with. I was being tested all the time. And I had to step up and show up for myself. I'm tested every day in this business. Just because I did Seinfeld or I did all that stuff doesn't mean I'm going to make it. I still audition for stuff. Another story. You tell me when you get tired of these stories. Trust me, I got a bunch of them. Thank you, Todd. So I'm in the flow of my career. I have an audition at Paramount Studios. I go to Paramount Studios. Now, remember, I'm going to Paramount Studios, man. I got a pass. Drive on Paramount Studios. Awesome. I didn't see it that way. I was angry. I'm reading for another doctor. I played a ton of doctors. Why do I have tape on why do I have a great reel like I just showed you? Why do I have that? If I got to show up all the time and dance on your desk like a monkey. I mean, I was really like, I'm feeling it now. It was not good. I go on the lot. I walk on the lot. I see all these other actors reading for the role. I could care less. But I do see this one particular actor. His name is Oba Babatunde, Tony Award-winning actor from the show Dreamgirls back in the day. I see this Tony Award-winning actor. I get even hotter. I go over to him and Oba's like, "Hey, Phil, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm not great." Well, Phil, wow, what's going on? I'm like, "Dude, I played doctors. You're a Tony Award winner. Why don't they just give us the role? They know we can do it. Why don't they just give it to us?" He's listening to me rant. I mean, it's not good. He looks at me. He says, "Are you finished?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." He goes, "Phil, I'm happy to be here." I'm like, "What?" He says, "Phil, I'm an actor." And when he said that, my sphincter went. And I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to act all week. I'm not here for them. I'm here for me. Oh my gosh. I ended up getting that role because he straightened me out. And so when we ask the question about failures and successes, you need to fail. You need to get it wrong. You don't want to. I'm not looking for it. I'm not waking up going, "Boy, I hope I get a huge challenge in my life today. I hope some impediment makes me stronger." No, it just happens. And then who are you in that when your bottom line is at risk and you got to figure out a different way? When you're transitioning from a young leading man to a middle-aged man, do you go with the flow? Or are you stuck in the image you had of yourself as a young, beautiful, you know what I'm saying? I work constantly because I'm not standing on ceremony. I'm not laying on my reputation. Everything I do is new. and fresh and right now in the moment, more than almost any profession I can think of. I've got to be that. So I can't lay on what I did before. And that's what I was doing when I was seeing Oba. I was laying on that thing before. Recreating. No, you don't recreate anything. You create. Have you played a doctor before? Yeah. Not this one. Have you played a lawyer before? Yeah. Not this one. You know what I mean? This is a different cat. And if I'm using the same muscles I was using to play the other lawyer, I'm not only am I not going to get the job, my growth stops. And for an actor, that's death. When they figure you out, when they know what you're going to say before you say it, you no longer have a career. So I'm always trying to freshen up my resume internally and trying to bring to the table more and more of me. Not Denzel, not Mario Van Peebles, not Blair Underwood, not Wesley Snipes. I mean, you know, Phil Morris. And as I've done that, I've been quite successful. And it's been an incredible career. I can keep going. Any questions or responses you guys have, please hit me.
I mean, I don't want to stop you at all. This is what's the word? Magical. Are you how are you on time? You want to
I'm good.
The Q&A?
Let's do it.
All right. So folks, if you have any questions, raise your Zoom hands and I'll call on you. Bill, you're first out of the gate.
A great chance. Phil, you were amazing. I felt it, you brought this magical presence. I'm not kidding. I'm like gushing because I felt like I was watching a movie. That's how much you brought to, you know, so I've never seen that on a Zoom or in this HBAP, you know, meeting. I got lost. So you mentioned this a couple times at the beginning. You just closed with it. This notion of failure, which is an elemental part of, you know, being an entrepreneur, starting a business, innovating. And when did you, I'd say, what did you ever have a pivot point based on failure across, and there's probably several across the arc of your career, if not daily, but I'm just curious if there's one that comes to mind that that was a game changer for you.
There's a couple. I don't know if it's necessarily failure, but not making the wisest decision, you know? So there's a movie called, it was called Go Beverly at the time. And I was cast in it to play the lead. And the lead was a guy who was a very erudite Black guy who really had no street sense, no street smarts at all. And in the movie, this character, Beverly, this woman, takes him under his wing, shows him New York like he's never seen, nightlife, street life, all this stuff. It was a pretty interesting script. Not great, but interesting. I went and auditioned with every young African-American actress in town. This one came into the room, and when I read opposite her, it was ridiculous. Her name was Halle Berry. Halle Berry. Before Halle Berry did the Spike Lee movie, before she was Halle Berry. So we finish, and I read with everybody, and they go, "Congratulations, Phil, you got the part. What do you think? Who should be Beverly?" I said, "Listen, I love my wife very much, but I'm tempted to go see a divorce lawyer if you hire Halle Berry. She is amazing." This is what they said. I'm gonna just be straight with you. We can't hire her. Why? She's half white and half Black. How can we have in this movie a half white girl show you how to be Black? The B-boys at the time, B-boys and hip hop was huge, and these were hip hop producers, will kill us. Wow. I quit the movie. Quit it. They had a director who was a video director. He wasn't a director. I didn't want to work. He didn't know what he was doing. my acting coach, this John Lim, the guy I told you scared the shit out of me. He read the script. He goes, "Why do you want to do this? This is a demeaning role for you." So that they don't want to hire Halle Berry for the reasons. It wasn't just because they didn't want to hire her. It was the reason they didn't want to hire her. Being in the hands of this neophyte director, I passed. And I went down to Australia to do a historical biopic of a man named Major Taylor, who was one of the first African-American world champions ever, and he was a cyclist. So I did a 6-hour Disney-sponsored miniseries down there. I thought it was a much better look for me. As I left the movie, they hired Halle Berry. They fired the director, and they rewrote it. Had I done that movie, my career would be completely different. Halle Berry and I on the screen together, at that time, forget about it. Do I regret it? Not at all. But it was a choice that I made because no one knows Tracks of Glory. That's the movie I ended up doing. But everybody knows Halle Berry. And absolutely nobody knows the guy who starred opposite her in that movie. No one knows him. Oh, best believe they would have known me. So that is just a choice, right? That's just not a failure. It's just a choice that you make. I felt like I made it for the right reasons, but in retrospect, had I just stuck it out a week and they said, right, you're right. Different paradigm. What other failures or challenges have I had that have made me choose a different path or helped me? I've been fortunate in that I haven't had too many of those stumbles. I just haven't. Whether I've avoided them or I've made good choices, I don't know. But I know that I haven't had too many of those disappointments. More internal stuff, right? More of the things that the worst thing to me is disappointing yourself. You know, you can disappoint other people disappointing you, whatever, that's good. I mean, unless it's your mom, that's big. That's big. But if it's you disappoint yourself, you know it. You can't avoid it. You can't lie to yourself. So whenever I've done that or been duplicitous or not as honest because I had an agenda, it's never worked out for me. Never. The times that I have stuck by my integrity, and I have so many theories and philosophies in people. One of them is, if you have integrity, your floor can only go so far down. You'll only allow yourself to fall so far. But your ceiling is limitless. So if you have integrity, have faith that the risks that you take can only make you fall so far. But if you don't take the risk, you have no idea about the ceiling that you can create or the lack thereof. And so I'm always trying to push that envelope, always trying to figure out another way to move myself into an area that will raise my ceiling, push it further, push it higher. So I expose myself to experiences like this. I expose myself to experiences. I've been doing tactical shooting lately. It's a subject, it's an interesting subject. But I'm always trying to master the thing that I'm interested in. Not because I want to make money off of it or I want to blog it, or it's for me. It's so that I can take this mastery, this sense of accomplishment, the sense of humbling myself to understand something greater than myself, to be a greater me. So that's kind of, maybe I hope I answered that question.
Thanks. Victor, and then we'll go to Michael.
Yes, thank you so much, Phil. I want to thank you for bringing your authentic self tonight in such a complete way, just because we asked. My reaction, I don't have a question, but my reaction is simple. Your words resonate with me in this business and entrepreneurial sense, but also quite deeply personally. And I wanted you to know that, and thank you for it.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you. Bill, I do want an addendum. I had a very salient moment with my Kung Fu instructor. Talk about failure. You fail in the martial arts, you get your ass kicked. I mean, this is the way it is. So it's simple, simple. So I've been in about 6 years, training about 6 years. And I thought I knew it, right? I'm fast, I'm strong, I'm this and that, ba-bam. I trained other martial arts before. I felt like I was good. I'm working out with another guy, bigger than me. His name's Stogie Kenyatta, who does an absolutely wonderful one-man show on Paul Robeson. Story for another day. Anyway, we're beating each other up, slamming each other. We're doing this thing called Chi Sao, which is a Wing Chun exercise. Literally sticking hands, but we're not sticking. We're just letting go, bam, bam, bam. We're just hitting each other, basically. So our teacher, our Sifu, comes out because he has a camera watching us, and he's in the office. Comes out, and he goes, "Stop! Stop! 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 Stop!" We stop. He comes over to Stogie and I goes, "What are you doing?" And Stogie says, "Well, Chi Sao. We're doing Chi Sao." He goes, "No, you're not. That's not what I taught you. That's hit and run. You're not sticking. You're hitting. You're running, hitting, running." And Stogie, I don't say a word. I am just, oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. Stogie says, that's what you taught us. Sifu goes, "Put your hands up." He puts his hands up. My Sifu's 5 foot nothing, no pounds. Stogie's 6'3", 6'4". He commenced to beat the crap out of that guy. We never saw Stogie again. I stayed for 30 years. I'm in 2 Hall of Fames. No one knows. I'm not doing martial arts on screen. I could care less if I throw a kick or a punch. I don't need it. I didn't do it for that. I did it for this. And I learned something that day. Don't think you got it. Just keep training. Don't think you know. Just keep learning. And then maybe mastery will find you. You don't find it. It finds you. Great masters and Sifus never call themselves that. Those are titles that are being put on them. They don't wake up and go, "I'm Master so-and-so, I'm Sifu." No. After a while, they may say that. But when it first happens, it's someone else. It's an organization. There are people who say to you, "You've accomplished this." It's not up to you to decide that. So sometimes we're looking at a result that isn't our business to determine. It's only our business to do the thing in front of us. The result will take care of itself. So anyway, Bill, that was to answer one.
Michael.
Yeah, Phil, I really can't emphasize enough. Thank you so much. This truly was special. I just have to echo Bill's sentiment. I have so many questions, but I think the one that keeps coming in my head is, obviously we all know show business is a business. And we've been given to understand over the past few years with streaming and, first thing we were told, webisodes are going to be big, and then it was going to be YouTube and YouTube TV and streaming and Netflix. I just wonder how that plays in. I'm not an actor myself, but if you were giving specific advice about someone, about what you talked about tonight, how does some of these new dynamics play into what you talked about?
A couple of things. That's a great question. Thank you for that, Michael. I did a seminar that I created called Phil Morris Gives You the Business. It was every bit of what you think. It wasn't a casting workshop, wasn't an acting workshop. It was a workshop about the business. Well, I wish somebody would have told me when I started as a young actor, like, have less ego, show up on time, hang up your wardrobe. Simple things, right? Simple things. When I started that seminar, I told a friend of mine I was going to do it. A guy, he's a little bit younger than me, but he'd been in the business a long time. And he's like, "Oh, Phil, that's great, because it sucks out here right now. This self-tape thing. I want to go into a room. I want to see the people. I can't self-tape. What am I? I'm not a cameraman. I'm an actor." He's just bitching and moaning. I said, "I got it. Let me ask you a question. let's say we started our careers today. What would we know? Only what we know. You know you have to self-tape. You know that there are a bunch of streaming services. You know that there's Netflix and Hulu, not just the networks. You would go from here with love and hopefully success, and you wouldn't be thinking about, I'm an old 8x10 guy who wants to be in the room every time I do an audition so they can feel my special sauce. You would just do what there was required to do. So stop messing yourself up with comparisons to the past and do what's in front of you to do. That's what I say to people right now about streaming. The opportunities are ridiculous. I said before we got on, TV is in a whole different configuration now. These shows now are movies. They're mini movies. The production value is just as good. They're putting just as much money in them. Do we get 26 or 30 episodes a season? No, we don't. But the 10 or 12 you do get are without commercials, usually. So it's a 50-minute run. You know, back in the day, when you do an hour program, you're only getting 47 minutes of programming because you got 13 minutes of commercials. Now the content is better. There's more of it. The people you work with are better. There's more outlets. So you have more opportunities as an actor to apply your trade. How's that bad? All we need to know now is how do we split up the equity? And this is a paradigm that's been going on for a long time. I'm 64. I've been doing this since I was 17. Nothing else but this. I've been through a lot of strikes, a lot of them. They're all the same. They're all based on some modality that's been introduced that only producers are aware of and only the producers can make money off of because they're the ones who put the money in, and we don't have a contract for that. They got a contract de facto because they're the investor. We're the workers without whom you would produce no thing, nothing. You as the producer you can't do it. You can pay for it, but you can't do it. So you rely on us, writers, directors, actors, craftsmen, the sound, everybody, to make the product that you're paying for. So we're all involved. We're all collaborators. We're all in the foxhole together. Just because you hold a bigger rifle doesn't mean you can protect me more than I can protect you. Honestly, that's my analogy. So when we get that it's a collaboration, hopefully we'll share the wealth. What they feel, and I just heard a really horrible thing today, that the producers are ready to destroy the Writers Guild. They're ready to scorch earth, right? They want writers to feel the pain. They want them to lose their homes. They want them to lose their cars. Literally, that's what they want. How does that work? How is that progressive? Listen, they don't produce anything. I don't come home and go, look what I made, and see, I made this case, and see this little Apple thing I designed. It's so pretty. And I can make billions of them. This is it. I make this, I bring it home. No, what I do is that. What we do is that. There is no quantitative way to show you what I do other than the film that I end up showing you. That's the product. I can't eat that. I can't wear that. That's for my spirit, for my soul. So who has dominion over that? That's what I think they forget, that the product they are producing isn't something I can ingest. It's not something I can put my arms around. It's something for this. Why do you think entertainment proliferates when times are bad? Because we need a song in our heart. Why were the movies of the 40s and the late 30s, when the war was on, why were they all musicals and romance? Why were they ending so happy? They were tired of the shit. They didn't want to keep regurgitating what they were living every day. They wanted something to ease their soul. That's what we produce. Quantify what's my half of that? So there's my rant.
Thank you, Phil.
That's a good rant. I challenge Gary, and then we'll go to Divya.
Yeah, my question, there's one thing you didn't mention in the whole time, is about mentoring. And I know your history with your father and the martial arts, but it's really interesting that I wonder if people try to mentor you, and I know you went to class and you learned, did that. Like, mentoring to me has been weird. I never learned from my mentors. They always told me what they knew and they never helped me. So I just don't know how that works in your industry, because, and if you are a mentor to anyone coming up, and if you look for people to help.
Thank you. That's a great question. Yes, I try to include mentorship in my revelations about my teachers. They definitely were my mentors, and very, very good ones, tough taskmasters. Yes, I do try to outreach to younger actors, and like I said, I had that seminar of Film Gives You the Business, but I always caution people about class and teachers and mentors. Don't go to an acting class to be an actor. Meaning, don't go to buddy up with the teacher, be friends with them, and have them be their favorite. Don't go to class to then go out to drinks afterwards with everybody and live that life. And because very rarely will you play an actor in your career. You're going to play regular people.
Right.
Go live life. Go climb mountains. Go love humans. Go do the thing that you're preparing to do, and keep your own counsel. With your mentorship, there's still the part of you that needs to be. I have a great library of philosophical library here, and I look at it and I go, when is it my time? When am I going to have the word? When am I going to have the thrust in my life? Do I always have to get it from someone else? Do I always have to read about it?
Right.
They're people. I'm people. I'm just as important. Remember, I told you, I'm special.
Right.
And my mentors hopefully will highlight that specialness. If they don't, I can't use you.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm my own best mentor.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Divya, and then we will end with Kelly's question.
God, Phil, this was awesome. This is absolutely, I think it just touched, you made it so relatable on all the challenges that an entrepreneur would go through, and still put it in a lens of being human and relating to the challenges that we go through every day. So thank you for that. And the magic part just hit me. So thank you.
Thank you.
On that magic note, I do have to ask, so is Secret Santa your best role ever?
This one right now. Honestly, if the best role is me. But I'm not playing it. I'm actually living. It's not a rehearsal. This is going. Hey, look, I mean, Jackie Chiles, absolutely. Here's why. It's not that you do your work, it's where and how and with whom, right?
Yeah.
To do Seinfeld, which was the #1 show in the world, but I was also at the same time doing the new Love Boat, The Next Wave. So I was doing the #1 show in the world and the number 101 show in the country at the very same time. So, and wonderful people to work with. I made a whole lot more money on the Love Boat than I did on Seinfeld. However, again, like I say, it's who you're playing, how you're playing it, and who you're working with. To work with that crew of crazies on Seinfeld, all of them at the top of their game, all of them type A personalities, and to show up and show out was special, very special. To have 80 million people watching your work in the final episode, special. I know I had like maybe 20 people at my house. So if 80 million people if they had 5 people at their house, extrapolate that and you'll have exactly who was watching. To create a character that is so beloved.
Mhm.
And so, and I'm just real quick going to show you early Jackie and then the Jackie that I play now. Well, here's our guy now, right? This is from the commercial that I do, the Snyder of Hanover pretzel pieces. This is 20 years after that he still resonates, that people still come up to me and recite his lines to me, is fantastic. They don't do that with any other character I ever played other than, well, Kelly and Young and the Restless. But other than that, that guy he's the gift that keeps on giving, and he's giving to this day. And I made such beautiful friends on that show. Jerry and I are very good friends. We're both Porsche lovers, and I don't know if I'll ever have 80 million people watch me again doing anything. So maybe that's my favorite. I never say favorite because there's so many, but Jackie's my dude. So maybe Jackie.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Divya. Kelly.
I think your favorite's Uber Santa, Phil. I think you're just trying to gloss over it.
Bad.
I got a question. Your audition is our pitch. We pitch all the time, and the frustration of getting a door shut in your face when you're pitching your idea or your business, the thing you love so much, the thing that you're willing to die for, if you're a true entrepreneur. I mean, not specifically. I mean, hopefully you wouldn't die for it, but we start businesses every several years. You start them virtually every day. So we've talked about this. You truncate your experience of the pitch and the failure and the pitch and the success, and you truncate that. What we do over years, you do in a very, very short period of time. How do you deal with? It's got to be an emotional. It is for us. It's got to be an emotional blow to know that you're the right. In our case, that we have the right pitch, we have the right business. We know we're going to make you money, and to have the door shut on us. How do you deal with that in your world?
Very difficult, to be honest. It's very difficult because I care, and I care. If I don't care, I don't go in the door. If I don't love it, the way you said, I don't love this character. I have to love him, not like him. Love him. So when I fall in love, right? I fall in love before a check is written. I fall in love before they say you have the part. I start my work before the work starts. So yeah, I am deeply invested in these characters, and it pains me when I don't get it. I always say if I was the producer, I'd hire me, but it doesn't always go my way. I honestly don't know how to alleviate that, and I don't think you should. My manager says, Phil, that's your gas. Without that gas, I can't use you as a client. Without that, like I told you, the Denzel thing, right? I don't have it anymore in comparison with other actors, but I have it when I don't get the role. It flippin' hurts me. But what it does is it girds my loins. You like that? It girds my loins for the next one. And there's gonna be another one. And when I audition, I don't just audition for that role. I'm auditioning for all the other characters and parts that these producers will go to after this show's over. So I give myself the best opportunity, whether I get it or I don't get it, because it has to resonate somewhere. Remember, they can only hire one of me. You and I read for a part, which would be ironic, but let's say it happens. They love us both for very different reasons. You got a whole faction that loves Kelly Kim, whole faction that loves Phil Morris. They can only hire one, no matter how much they love us too, right? That doesn't mean they don't love you. That doesn't mean you didn't do a good job. That doesn't mean you didn't kill it, in my parlance, That just means it didn't fall your way. That's not a reason not to try anymore. Not a reason to doubt yourself. It's not a reason to feel daunted. I read for 6 pilots one season, maybe 7. And every time you read for a pilot, you go to the network to read for a pilot, you sign a contract. You sign a 5-year contract. So you see what you're going to make for 5 years. It's all there. You get this, this is what you're making. You know, negotiations notwithstanding. Every single time you sign that contract. And there's a theory that if you were to take the adrenaline that runs through an actor's veins when they go to network to audition for a pilot and you inject it into a normal resting human, they would die of a heart attack. That's how much adrenaline is running through you, because the potential for you to have a Friends, to have a Seinfeld, to have a Mission Impossible is within your grasp, is right there. 6 times I went. The last time I'm in my car driving down Cahuenga Boulevard, I'll never forget it. My agent calls me and says, "I'm so sorry, Phil, you didn't get it." I pull my car over, I park, I recline my seat, and I say to myself, never again will they jump me around like a yo-yo emotionally. Never again. And it's never happened again. I go through it and I let it go, because I know there's a better one coming. My manager says, "I'm not looking for the no, baby. I'm looking for the yes." Can't use the no. Don't tell me you're not going to hire my client and then tell me why you're not hiring him. I don't care. You said no. I don't need that energy now. We'll talk later. Bye. And that's kind of how I deal with it. I have, you know, like an athlete. I have selective amnesia, like a pitcher. You have a great pitcher. One day he throws a no-hitter. The next day he gets shelled for 13 runs. That's just the way it goes. You don't want the risk, don't get in the arena. You don't want the hurt, you don't want the feels, don't show up. But if you're going to show up, you got to risk. You got to risk the failure. And you're the one who has to ride it. They say no to you, that's nothing to them. It means everything to us. So in dealing with it, that's how I deal with it. I'm like, your loss, because I got the goods. Like I said, no one knows the guy who started opposite Halle Berry. Everybody know Jackie Chiles. Sometimes it's just for me, Kelly.
So, well, Phil, thank you. You know, this came from a lunch that we had, and one of the best days that I have, or the lunches that I have with you, because I keep coming up with more questions and more questions, and probably embarrass you with a few of them. But thank you. I really appreciate you coming here tonight. I love you. You're a good friend of mine, and you know, I appreciate you doing this. I know you don't have to. And
my honor, truly. It's helped me tremendously. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Kelly. Susan.
Yeah. So, yes. Thank you. And I want to reiterate something that Victor said. He said that your words resonated with him deeply and personally. And I think that happened for everyone here, and certainly for me as well. And such wisdom, and just thank you. Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Would you be willing to come back on sometime? Because this was an incredibly awesome, wonderful, fantastic, magical night for us.
Of course, this is great. I loved it. Thank you so much. You guys are terrific. And thanks for listening to this performer try to explain his entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Phil, thank you very much. This was a magical masterclass of entrepreneurship, like from why, core values, purpose, differentiation, value proposition, value creation, value capture, marketing, uncertainty, risk, strategy, tactics, failure, resilience, and the most important was learning. Thank you for this. This was a real treat.
Call on me. I'm here anytime.
Thank you so much. Just a little reminder before we sign off, and we'll stop recording and we'll do some overtime next week. We're giving a workshop on generative AI. So if you have not yet been playing with ChatGPT or any of these generative AI tools, please come join us next week, because we've got a really fun workshop where everyone's going to be able to use these tools and see how we can benefit from them. And on July 26th, Congressman Jimmy Gomez will be joining us to talk about AI regulatory complexities. Please stick around for some overtime. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you all next week.